Hi, Chi. Good morning. Okay, I'm all set up. How are you this morning? Okay. Alrighty, so I'm going to go ahead and get started. So thank you so much for joining me for Dissecting Daily Devotional. And today's devotional is one of my favorites just because there are a few verses that I go to that are all about identity. And this one is one of them. And me being biased, I'm an identity coach, so I love when I get to teach on this type of thing. So we are going to be reading Psalms 139 verses 13 and 14. And I'm going to read them both out of the NLT and the New King James Version just because they sound a little bit different, but both versions have different words that I particularly love. So first I'm going to read the NLT and then I'm going to read the New King James Version. So the NLT says, and this is verses 13 and 14. It says, "You made all the delicate inner parts of my body and knit me together in my mother's womb. Thank you for making me so wonderfully complex. Your workmanship is marvelous. How well I know it." Excuse me. And then the New King James Version says, "For you formed my inward parts. You covered me in my mother's womb. I will praise you, for I am fearfully and wonderfully made. Marvelous are your works, and that my soul knows very well." So I just love this verse just because, like I said, it's the beginning of time, and it's about knowing who you are, knowing who God created you to be. And that's the basics of identity. Identity is knowing who you were and who God created you from day one. And this verse is basically saying, like, God, you created me special, you created me different, you created me to stand apart, and God knows us inside and out. And I just think this verse is so beautiful. So I'm going to start breaking it down. Excuse me. So, you made, and this is the NLT, you made all the delicate inner parts of my body. So, delicate, that means like fine, that means like sacred, that means gentle, it means pure. So, God formed those things inside of your body. He made you delicate, He made you fine, He made you sacred, He made you pure. So that's what that line is saying. You made all the delicate, so you made all the fine, the inner parts of my body, and you knit me together in my mother's womb. So when you are knitting or crocheting, you have the yarn, and then you have like the two sticks, and then you cross them together. They are carefully intertwined. And that is how God made us. We've all seen those jokes or those memes where it talks about how to learn how to read a woman, there's like a book of like 90,000 pages, or they'll say like women are just so complicated. And when they say that, I laugh because it's absolutely right. We are complicated creatures, but that's the beauty of women. God made us that way. God didn't make us just simple, like, here you are, that's it. We were made complicated. And that means we're not for everyone, because not everyone's going to sit there and untangle and dissect and pull back things to get to us, which is good because we don't want those people in our lives anyway. So it says, you knit me together in my mother's womb. So like I said, knitting is it's being like you being intertwined. So think of like a rope, you're tying it back and forth. He intertwined us with the different things, and that's what makes us different. Our identity is in the different things that He created us. So each one of us, we were created for a purpose. So when He knit us together, He knit our purpose into our DNA, and it's up to us to unravel that DNA and figure out what that purpose is. So for example, if He made you to be, let's just say, a singer, right? He knit that in you. So it's up to you to figure out, I'm supposed to be a singer and I'm supposed to bring people show love, show Jesus by singing, right? So it's up to you to untangle that web, untangle all of that he knit together. It's up to you to do that. Excuse me, I'm so sorry. So it says, you knit me together in my mother's womb. Thank you for making me so wonderfully complex. So wonderful in Hebrew, it means spectacular, it means amazing, it means astounding. So when we judge each other, or when we judge ourselves, mainly ourselves, when we judge ourselves and we're like, oh, I'm this or I'm that, that's not true. God made us. It says right here that he made us wonderful. And wonderful means spectacular, astounding, amazing. So God made us individually that way. No, you're not wonderful because you don't look like this girl or because you don't look like that girl, but you are still wonderfully made in God's image because he made you differently. Excuse me. The next part, it says, this is the part that I love. It says wonderfully complex. So back to what I was saying. Yes, men, if there are men gonna watch this, yes, women, we are made complex. We are made up of a few things. We're not easy. And that's what I love about this, is because oftentimes guys come into our life and they want something easy like that, and as women we're not supposed to be easy. You're not supposed to just give it up, and whether it is sex, whether it's your time, whether it's money, whatever it is, you're not supposed to just give it up to the first guy that comes around or the first guy that's interested in it. We were made complex for a reason, and if the guy's not going to take time to untangle all of that that we are of a human, we don't need that person in our life. And most guys won't, and that's okay, because you're not supposed to marry most guys. You're just supposed to marry one. So the one guy will come for you. The one guy will sit and be patient and basically pull you apart the way that a Christian godly man should. Love this. Oh, thank you. So okay, so sorry, I have my notes on my computer. So it says, you are wonderful. You made me so wonderfully complex. So I said that we are not easy. We are entangled. We are intricate, and we are very because we are intricate. So imagine even like these braids. So like if you try to just sit and pull these apart, no one's going to sit and do that, and that's okay. Whether it's a girl, like one of your girlfriend friends, or if it's like a guy, if they're not willing to sit, then it's totally fine. That person's not your people, if that makes sense. So, fearfully. So I looked up the definition of that, and fearfully it says, we were created in great action. So fearfully, it means like we were in awe. And I'm getting fearfully from the second version that I read, which was the New King James Version. It says, for you formed my inward parts. You covered me in my mother's womb. I will praise you, for I am fearfully and wonderfully made. Marvelous are your works, that my soul knows it very well. So fearfully means, hey sissy. So fearfully means basically to relish, to awe in, and to honor. So kind of like your parents. Hopefully you respect your parents. We have that fearful thing. We'll say grandparents because they're a little bit different. So we have that fearful respect for our grandparents. Like, no, they probably won't hurt us, but if they tell us to do something, out of like that respect, out of that honor, we are going to do what they asked us to do. It's that same thing. So we are fearfully made, meaning we are made from God, who has that honor. So it was an honor for us to be made by him. I hope that's making sense. So I will praise you, for I am fearfully and wonderfully made. Marvelous are your works. And then back to marvelous. That is the same definition of wonderful. It means spectacular. It means amazing. It means astounding. So marvelous are your works. So like you did a great thing. So when God formed us, he did a great thing. And we're basically saying, when we judge ourselves, like, oh, I wish I was prettier, or I wish I was skinnier, or how come my hair's not longer, how come my nose isn't bigger or smaller, my lips aren't bigger, how come my skin's not lighter or darker. That's basically us judging God's work. And it says right here that he created us marvelously. He created us fearfully. He created us wonderfully. And if God makes no mistakes, we're basically saying like he made a mistake, because clearly we're not okay with how God made us. So if I'm saying like, oh, I wish my skin was darker, I wish my skin was lighter, you're basically saying like God messed up. But we know he didn't. He made you that color for a reason, or that shape, or whatever that thing is that you battle with. So the last line I love. It says, marvelous are your works, and that my soul knows very well. So I am a firm believer, and I could be wrong, and I'll ask Jesus when I get to see him. But I like to say our souls are connected to him. And I think just because when the world was created, God, when he created everything, he spoke everything into existence but human. He said, let there be light, and a light appeared, which was the sun. Let there be ocean, or whatever he said, let there be. It appeared. But when he created man, he breathed into them. So I believe that because God breathed his breath into us humans, I believe that we have a connection to him. And I believe that verse that says, I'm literally getting chills now. I believe that verse that says, my soul knows it very well, is because our souls are intertwined. We have a piece of God in us. And I think that's so important, because some people feel like, oh, God's not with me, I'm not with God, and vice versa. But I think that because he breathed into us, we have a piece of him inside of us. And that verse right there is saying like, my soul knows it very well. And I think that's true. I think our souls know that God made us so complete. God made us so perfect. And it's because a piece of him is in us. So let me see, is that it? Okay, so the last verse I just want to reference really quickly. It's Psalms 119:73, and this is in the New King James Version. It says, your hands have made me and fashioned me. Give me understanding that I may learn your commands. So this verse for me was like mind-blowing, and I'm not even gonna lie, I've read the Bible at least twice full through, but I don't remember this verse ever. But this verse, I think, is one of the verses on finding identity, because it says, your hands have made me and fashioned me. So like we just read, he was the one that intertwined us, right? So his hands was the one that fashioned us, that made us, that intertwined us, right? And it says, give me understanding that I may learn your commandments. We all have a purpose. When God created each one of us, there was a purpose out in the world. And God was like, I'm going to make a Lanisha that's going to cover that purpose. So whatever that thing is that you were created for, just like me, God knew that I was going to be talking and preaching to women on identity. So God created me specifically for the group of women that I'm going to reach, right? So this verse is basically saying, God, give me understanding so I can learn your commandments. Finding our purpose is a commandment, and this verse is basically saying, show me, lead me so I can find my identity, so I can find my purpose into what I'm supposed to be doing. So I just thought that verse was pretty fun to throw in, just because it kind of all ties together. Once you know who you are, which was the first verse that we read, the first two verses that I kind of went over, it's learning who you are as a person, who you are in Christ, who you are as your identity. And then this verse is basically saying like, okay, God, you created me, you showed me what I'm supposed to be. Now show me where my commandment is. And I just think that's awesome, because I think as women, as children of God, we should be praying to him, asking what our identity is, what our purpose is, so he can lead us to it. So I'm going to read it one more time, both of them. So it says, this is Psalms 139:13 and 14. You made all the delicate inner parts of my body and knit me together in my mother's womb. Thank you for making me so wonderfully complex. Your workmanship is marvelous. How well I know it. And then New King James says, for you formed me in my inward parts. You covered me in my mother's womb. I will praise you, for I am fearfully and wonderfully made. Marvelous are your works, and that my soul knows it very well. So I love that, just because I think, like I said, it's one of those things that our identity is based on that. So are there any questions? Are there any comments? Hi, Julia. Sorry. Yeah. Hi, Julia. Are there any comments or questions or concerns before I head out? So with reading the Bible, I read between my NLT and my New King James. I have two, you don't need two versions, but I like to read two versions just because certain versions just sound a little bit better and certain versions are a little bit easier for you to comprehend. So that's why I sometimes like to compare them, because certain words I'm like, I have no idea what that means. And then in certain other Bibles, I'm like, okay, that makes 100% complete sense. So I encourage you to, if you don't have another Bible, download the Bible app, and then you can just kind of like scroll and find like a different version to read. But okay, so I'm going to let you guys go if there are no questions. This was awesome. Thank you. Thank you so much. And I'm glad you agreed, Julia. Yes. Thank you so much for tuning in. I will be back tomorrow. Same time. I go live every morning at 10. I will probably change it once like life goes back to normal and I have to go back to work. But until then, I will see you tomorrow. It's okay, Julia, just watch the replay. I'm gonna save it and you can just watch it. So I'll be back tomorrow, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I hope you guys have a beautiful day. Love you all. Thank you again. Bye.